Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. We're the Movie Couple. I'm Dustin.
I'm Wendy, and this is our review for Companion. Companion is directed by Hancock. A weekend getaway turns bloody when a subservient android that's built for human companionship goes haywire.
Companion has a pretty straightforward premise for a horror/thriller movie, and I kind of like that, just that it's straightforward and telling you exactly where it's going in the premise. You know, this is somewhere in the future, and we've got an android that's made for companionship, and something goes wrong.
I feel like when a movie that is based in horror or thriller and they introduce an android, we kind of automatically think like, oh, Skynet.
Yeah.
Oh, iRobot. Oh, Megan. Like just kind of, like the rebellion from the robots, and now the humans have to fight our way. And I think this one plays a little bit differently, which is what made it such an interesting watch for me. And also, I love the cast. We've got Sophie Thatcher in this as Iris, and I love her in People Have Seen Yellow Jacket. I'm sure you already know how great she is. I recently watched her, last year, in, what's that Hugh Grant movie? Heretic. And oh my god, that was like one of my favorite horror movies of last year. So I'm just happy to see her doing more and more and more. And she's brilliant in this. Jack Quaid, Megan Suri, Harvey Guillén. Everybody is really fantastic in this because there's a lot of like banter back and forth between the characters. So it's more than just like an android that becomes self-aware. It's this, you kind of said it best, so I don't want to steal it from you, but the metaphor of, what you're seeing between the characters, Iris and Josh, kind of equates to that of a toxic relationship.
Very true. And that is something that it really does. It doesn't kind of like shove down your throat at the very beginning. It's slowly revealed to you, and I kind of like the way that that's kind of developed. And also, it keeps you on your toes a lot because it's not really what you would expect from like a horror slasher or kind of even like a thriller movie. This is more of like a drama, a little bit more about how kind of more like Ex Machina. Is that and kind of to where it really does make you think and make you look back on like the relationships between humans and even humans and technology, and how some actually have like a healthy relationship with it, and how some do not have a healthy relationship with either technology or humans whatsoever.
Yeah, and I feel like in a way, obviously we already knew the premise of this movie before we went and started watching it, but a part of me kind of wish in a way that they didn't put it in the marketing.
Yeah.
So you can kind of go in and be really surprised by what happens. And there are other elements to this too that we won't cover in this review, just because I feel like that's a little too spoilery. We don't want to take that away from you. But at the same time, for marketing, like if you don't just say that part, then it's a very surface level kind of like a what happened to this like supposedly lovely lake house getaway weekend that turns bloody. Like, what is it about really?
Yeah, and honestly, that is something that would be really good if you knew absolutely nothing going into this movie. The way they do some of the reveals, I think, are very well done if you already know nothing. However, if you know just so much of the backstory that we told you in the intro, you already are waiting for the traditional things to kind of happen.
Right.
And as they reveal more and more throughout the movie, there are some times that this movie does fall into some tropes of, why would you do that? Why would you program it this way? Why would you add these kind of things? There's a lot of things that are an interesting take on how an AI companion would work out, and some of the things that you would need to contribute in order to get the AI results to be more human-like. But it's a cool little element, but I feel like it was one of those things that you're just like, what did you expect to happen?
Yeah. And I feel like this movie, more so than looking at like, oh, AI gone wrong, it really examines more of human behavior
Yes.
and human relationships and what we think we want out of a human romantic relationship versus what you actually do with it once you have it. So that's actually been really nice to watch, and I love that they were able to cram all this in like under 2 hours. I think a horror movie for me, like an hour 40, an hour 45 is such a perfect sweet spot, and they did everything that, you know, I think pacing and everything really fantastic in this movie. I liked it so much. Like, yeah, some parts were a little predictable, but I didn't mind that it was predictable because I was having so much fun watching it happen.
Yeah, there are a lot of parts that you do kind of see coming a mile away. But I do like the fact that there were some moments that actually made you feel, that actually made you go, that made you really think about human, not just human relationships, but the human experience in general, and how we think about certain moments in our lives. So, and how we can have, you know, that kind of emotional attachment to things that are technically not real.
Yeah, yeah.
So it really does make you think about that on a certain level, even though there were very much moments of slap in the forehead of why did you make those choices, but those choices are there to make you think about the topic that they're really focusing on, which is toxic relationships.
Yeah. I will also say this is kind of a surface level thing, but one of the things that made me go, oh, was the bad guy monologuing.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. I was like, just you're wasting so much time monologuing. If you would have done, but then we wouldn't have a movie.
Yeah, true.
You know,
it would have just happened.
And it goes into the characteristics of the one who is delivering said bad guy monologue. Like, it really makes sense once you kind of, you know, in retrospect, you're like, that makes sense. So I feel like this is, you know, we're early into 2025. So is this the first movie we've seen this year? No, Wolfman was the first movie. Yeah, Wolfman was. That's right. You know what? I had fun with Wolfman. I'm having fun with Companion. Like, I'm happy that the first two movies that I've gotten to see so far in 2025 are...
Both movies were horror movies for me. Horror.
But this one's not really...
I had actually no problem with this movie the way I had, you know, a little bit of problems with Wolfman, to where it's a little bit more... This one didn't have those moments.
This one's a little more like thriller slasher.
Yeah, a little bit more of a make you think kind of a movie. And overall, I think it did the job that it was setting out to do.
And with that said, we're going to go ahead and give you our rating for Companion. The movie couple rating is listed for you in the video description below. So as I already said, I had fun watching this movie. I think the cast is fantastic. I absolutely love Sophie Thatcher in everything she does. So if you are a fan of her, you're probably ready to watch this. You won't be disappointed. Same goes with the cast. I think they're great. And it's just, this is, you know, actually a really great, like, for Valentine's Day date night. No, I'm serious. Like, people who are like into horror slasher.
No.
Yeah, like, you know, you're not walking into another, like, I mean, yeah, it's romance based, but there's also like a little bit other elements in it. So if you're into that type of thing, go to the movies together. I think it's a really good time. I was thoroughly entertained. I had fun watching it. I'm gonna give this a check it out.
For me, I thought it achieved the goal that it was setting out to do. It was there to explore certain parts of human relationships. There were a lot of moments that I was kind of slapping my forehead to where I'm like, okay, I can see why they're doing it, but I'm kind of like, why would you do... In the reality of the movie, it kind of pulled me out every now and again. So I'm going to give this a matinee.
There you have it. That is our thoughts on Companion. Let us know yours by commenting below. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next review.